this module is about environment. Okay. So environment generally gets combined with your geography in prelims. So you have the syllabus both for your prelims and it is there in mains paper 3. So in prelims, it gets generally combined with geography. Like for example, if you take a tiger reserve, they'll give the name of the tiger reserve and there will be one or two questions on which river it is or whether it is the largest reserve or has the highest tiger population, etc. And then there might be one question on tiger also. So this is how it gets combined. So it being the largest or the smallest tiger reserve is a environment based question on tiger is also environment based question, but river, state, mountain, etc is a geography based question. So you have a combination of geography and your environment in few questions. Few questions are purely environment. It is completely environment, purely environment. Okay. So you have prelims based questions which approximately come around 8 to 12, because when it is combined with geography, few books put it under geography and few put it under environment, but somewhere between 8 to 12 is the range of your environment based questions. Mains, you get solid 7 to 8 questions in writing, and there will be 3 to 4 which are 10 marker, and there will be 3 to 4 which are 15 marker questions. Most of your mains questions are based on your current affairs, and most of it is surrounding your water crisis. Okay, it is surrounding your soil erosion, mass movement, disasters, or it is around your climate change. So these are the recurring topics that are there in your mains. Okay, so it has a very good share of prelims and mains questions. So generally it accounts for 70 to 90 marks here, and 8 to 12 questions is a very good number in your prelims also. Mains exam, you cannot finish your essay without environment. Anything you take, there is environment. Whether you take the economic growth, sustainable growth, any type of growth you take, you have to combine environment into it. Climate change based essay only also can come in your environment based topic of essay. So one full 125 mark essay only can be based on environment, where they can give it on quote, or they generally give it on quote, or they generally give a topic directly telling that how is carbon responsible or how is climate change responsible for the present disasters, or it might tell disaster is due to climate change these days. And they might also ask you a question on Indian environmental change because of climate change. So there can be questions like this. So anything that comes with respect to climate change is very important in your current affairs. You should take note of it from the editorial perspective is very very important. So now if your COP next is happening and India has been given invitation for this, for climate change. So if you're going to the COP, then what is happening in the COP, what are the key outcomes, and what is India saying in the COP, what is contribution of India for climate change, etc., will come out in the editorial section of the newspaper. So that you have to make notes and you have to keep it. It is very very important. Any animal that appears on the front page of the newspaper is very important. If it is inside, then not so important. But animal based editorial only comes where he is talking about tiger, or he is talking about animals like pangolin, whales, etc. When animal based editorial is there, super important. If it comes in the first page, also very important. So sometimes whenever there is, Kaziranga, there are grazing rhinoceros, etc., he will give it and he will tell about rhinoceros, etc., and there will be a photo shown that the number has increased, or because of rainfall there is rhinoceros there. Or sometimes they give elephant photos and they tell Kerala something, somewhere some national park photo. So whenever that photo is in news, you have to take note of which national park it is, which animal has been shown there, And what are the characteristics of that animal? You need not get into every detail of that animal. You only, when it comes to an animal, you have to know four things. One is you have to know in which states is it is present, which countries it is present. Is the animal endemic to India? And what is its status on IUCN Red List, whether it is endangered, critically endangered, etc. And what is its main diet? Whenever you are learning about states and countries only, you will get to know the habitat, whether it is in a tropical evergreen forest or deciduous forest. So generally which state and country tells the habitat. So these are the things that you should know. If interested, you can know whether it is a mammal or a egg laying animal. And in mammal, how long is the gestation period? That is the pregnancy period. So how long is it? So that if you know, then that is more than enough. Animals which appear only on front page, in a year you will get 10 such animals, not beyond that. So take care to have this much data segregated for each and every animal. Most of the animals I'll cover here, but there will be some animals which will be key important animals, and then they'll ask questions on that. So you have to have a note of these animals, and based on that you should know their status. Okay, so this is the status of the animal that you should know. So this much, if you have notes segregated of 10 to 12 animals, that is more than enough. The question won't go beyond that. Whatever comes in the front page and editorial, more than enough. If it is appearing on the front page or editorial, front page means it is endemic to India, that is why it is in front page and he is giving a photo of it. If not, if it is coming in the editorial section, that means the animal is endangered and the number is decreasing. Government of efforts are not giving enough results. So that is why the animal has been chosen into your editorial, because it has been reflected in your WWF, or it has been reflected in UNEP that in India this animal population is going down. That is why they write it in the editorial. So hardly there will be 10 such animals, not beyond that. So otherwise, if you take the case of your question paper, animals which are recurringly there only appear on the question paper also: tiger, lion, cheetah, leopard, elephant. Okay, three or four endangered animals. These many animals only. It keeps revolving around these things only. So if you know those things, that is more than enough. Okay, so this is regarding your animals. So when you see the syllabus of your environment, first thing is your ecosystem and ecology, in which all these animals, behavior of animals, your ecosystem, okay, and the problems of ecosystem get addressed. The next one is different types of habitat that are there. Then you have to learn about various types of pollution. This gets attached to your biogeochemical cycles. Both go hand in hand. You cannot separate them completely. Next is you have to understand climate change and important national and international conventions. Maximum questions get attracted in your paper from this and this. You generally have 4 to 6 questions from these two sections. Okay, habitat, after that one or two might come, and some other concept based questions might come, one or two from this. So this is how the questions get distributed or in a regular way overall, if you take an average analysis. Okay, so this is how we will cover the syllabus also. So first we'll address to ecosystem and ecology, then we'll go into pollution and biogeochemical cycles, then we'll go into climate change and national and international convention, and in the end we'll come to habitat, because habitat we have also covered partially in geography also. So if you see geography module, you will get to know about the habitats there. In climatology, last chapter we would have, last part of climatology, That chapter, in the end, we would have covered this habitat questions. So here we'll deal with it in a bit depth, and it will be done in the end because you already know the topic. Okay, so this is how we will do. There will be around 40 hours of session for your environment, and every day it will be 1.5 hour session. And I'll also give you few questions to practice, and few prelims based questions also for practice. Okay, along with this, I'll also give you few important pointers which don't fall under any of these chapter categories, but they appear in your prelims exam, and that data can be used in your mains exam also. Okay, so this is how we will start with the module and will progress with the module. So, coming to the module now, we will start with your chapter known as Ecology and Ecosystem. If you want to refer any books for this, you can take two popular books are there in the market. One is Shankar IAS Academy, and another one is PMF. These are the two most popular books for your environment. You can take them, or you can take NCRT. One is your geography, another is biology. The last two, three chapters always are around your environment. And you can take them, you can read them, and combine newspaper with it. You can take up any current affairs, one yearly magazine for this. No need to purchase, whatever is there available freely online is more than enough. So they'll put a yearly, complete accumulation of all the current affairs yearly before prelims and before mains. So you can take up anything online that is available, and you can just read it once. If you have done the newspaper, don't depend on the current affairs material that is provided online, because they cannot cover 1 year full of current affairs associated with any subject. So they cut it short, they have to make it within 100 pages. So they are removing most of the data, and sometimes whatever is removed appears in the paper. So better to follow a newspaper and then revise one magazine which consolidated material is provided online, and that would suffice for your environment based preparation. Okay, so conceptual understanding is very very important in this, and few times even questions get attached from biology, where they are asking you microorganisms and one or two parts from your environment and one or two from biology, which family it falls under, etc etc. So that is biology part. So environment can get combined with geography, or it can get combined with biology. So any one of these books you can take, and you can read it simultaneously. Okay, so you will get a hold on this. Many books, I'll tell the problem now only, and then don't get confused with it. The way I deal with the syllabus is whenever we are doing your biogeochemical cycles, only we do your pollution and the international conventions with it, and the national programs or schemes associated with it. Because when you write your mains answer, it appears in this fashion only. So biogeochemical cycles are there, so they will ask what is the importance of that chemical in the biological and geological cycle. What happens when the chemical becomes excess, that is pollution? What are the impacts of this pollution? And then what are the remedial measures that we are doing? That is this part. So this is how you address a question in your mains paper. Or even if the question is asked in mains, it is expected that you write it like this. Textbooks give this as a separate part, this as a separate part, and this as a separate part. So the same thing is reiterated in three different chapters. So don't get confused. You should be able to consolidate into a answer writing format where you will know the importance of it, the pollution associated with it, the impacts of it, and the remedial measures internationally and nationally taken up for it. So this is how you present. So in that format only my notes is, or my way of classes is. So don't get confused, and don't panic that this has not been done, that has not been done. At the end, when you see the entire module, all the chapters will be completed, but it will be not according to the order of the textbook. It will be according to the order of your presentation of answer in the mains. Okay, so it will be in that format. Don't get confused with it. So have patience, and if you still have problems, you can talk to me and we'll address it. Okay, so this is how the pattern of your module will be. So you can take these books, any of it, and it is good enough. Any book is good enough. Okay, so popular one is PMFIS because he has given all the data. So you can take PMFIS, and you can please take the updated version, latest edition. Don't take the old edition because he would have not added the latest current affairs. So whatever has been released just before the prelims, or you can even wait until mains, and just 1 month before mains he will release the latest edition. So you can take the latest edition of that book. Okay. Okay, so we'll start with the first chapter, ecology and ecosystem. So, in ecology and ecosystem, there are three parts to it. One part will deal with the basics of ecology, basic definition and concepts of ecology and ecosystem. The second part of it will deal with the biodiversity of your ecology or your environment and the impact of climate change on it. Statement wise question, when you get it, will be in this format only. So this is how you have to study this chapter. And next, did you all finish writing down? So whenever there is notes I will dictate, but most of the times there is no notes. Whatever is on the screen only you have to write it. So just make this diagram.
Madam, I just wanted to ask you something.
Yes, sure, please do.
So you'd given PMF or Shankar as reference. So as we are going along with your classes, should we refer that or should we?
You can refer to the content along with the classes only. Whatever syllabus is covered, you can refer it then and there.
Okay, madam. Right. Thank you.
Okay. What is ecology? You have been studying it from school. What is ecology? Logy, everybody knows it is study. What is eco? Okay, it is your house. That is your environment. So your environment is actually your house. We have limited it to a concrete structure, but you need a complete environment for your survival. So it is eco plus logy. So it is ecology. Write down. The term ecology was coined by Ernst Haeckel, and it is a branch of biology that studies organizations in their environment. And it is a branch of biology that studies organizations in their environment. So the basic structure of any body is a single cell. Group of cells become a tissue. Group of tissues form a organ. Group of organs form a organ system. Organ systems together, I'll write it here in the next part. Group of organ systems together will give rise to an organism which will perform many functions. Then same group organisms are called as species. Population, number of animals in the same species. Community, where different species start interfering or intermingling. And then you have an ecosystem. Group of ecosystems is called as a biome, and group of biomes is a
Biodiversity.
biosphere. Okay, biosphere. And biosphere is present in your earth. So this is the organization. So a single cell is there which performs the most basic activity in any organism, or there can be many organisms which are single celled only. So group of cells together they become a tissue, and they are able to perform the same function but in a group. When these tissues form together and they come together, they become an organ which performs a higher order job. Like for example, your lungs. Your lungs take the job of taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. But when the same lungs, if you only take a lung and if you keep it in your hand, it cannot take oxygen and it cannot give carbon dioxide. You need your nose, you need your nasal cavity, you need your trachea, and then you need your trachea splitting up into two parts, one to the left lung and one to the right lung. So an entire respiratory system with the heart only can give you this operation of taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. Heart cannot function without lungs, lungs cannot function without heart. So both are codependent on each other. So when this entire structure of group of organs like your nose, nasal cavity, your trachea, okay, so bronchi, etc., when you take all of it together, then it becomes a organ system. When you have now a successful heart and lung, it is almost half of your body functions. Like for example, your blood is being carried and there is oxygenated blood being carried, so majority of the work is being done by your blood, so circulation system is working fine. So circulatory system and respiratory system are the basic systems which are very very important for your nervous system from the brain to work and your digestive system to work. So along with this, when your nervous system and your digestive system gets combined, your organism is fully functional, which can survive now independently. You don't need a host and you can independently perform many functions. Whereas you take a virus, it lacks that independency. It has to stick to something and only then can survive. But when you have multiple organ systems, you become a independently performing organism and you become an independent organism. Group of such similar organisms who have similar genetic pattern, they are called as your species. When species are a single type of species, population is always a single type of species. When a single type of species are spread around different continents or spread around in different parts of the ocean, you take their count, that is called as population, and this population interacts with another population or species, then you become a community. When a system is formed, an ecosystem, it can fully function independently. For example, a lake is an ecosystem. A lake can more or less survive independently provided there is rainfall. If there is good rainfall, lake will survive independently. It's not so dependent on something else. So it can perform independently. It has its own cycle of nutrition circulation. So that is when you call it as an independently performing system and it becomes a ecosystem. Nutrition circulates within this ecosystem. It circulates outside the ecosystem also, but can independently perform its nutrient cycling. That is called as an ecosystem. Group of ecosystems come together like this, you call it as a biome, and biomes together become the entire biosphere of the earth. Okay, so this is a brief introduction of what happens. Until this part now, the working of your organ systems, your tissue, cells, organism is biology. Environment starts with species and its behavior. Okay, we are not going to learn the chemical and the biological aspect of these species. We are going to learn their behavior with their environment. That is nothing but your ecology. How one species behaves with its environment. What is its role in the environment? What will happen if you take out this species from the environment? If you take out mosquitoes from the environment, no much damage. If you take out virus from the environment, no much damage. It will function fine. But if you take out owls from the environment, there is an impact. If you take out eagle from the environment, there is an impact. If you take out vulture from the environment, there is an impact. So those animals which are very crucial for the functioning of your environment, only those animals are your concern and you will study only that. In paper, if he is saying some particular ant is there and article has come on an ant, you need not worry. Ant one goes, the other one is there. Never the species is threatened. So no need to study ant, fly, etc. Only if the animal is very important for the ecosystem, and if you remove it, then there is an impact. That means you can make a question on it. If ant is there, one species is there and it is getting much attention, okay, so you cannot now frame a question on it. There must be at least 3 or 4 points for a question to be framed. If ant is there and he has written something on the behavior of the ant, read it once. That will stick to the memory because it is not so difficult, and leave it then and there. But if the animal is very important to your ecosystem, and if you remove it or the number is decreasing and there are many impacts associated with it, then you can frame a very good question and question will be framed on it. So whenever you read an article, try to analyze whether a question can be framed or not. If question cannot be framed, then there is no need or no point in writing it down. You can just read it once and you can leave it. You will remember the important points. Okay, so there's no need to dwell into it in depth or in detail. Okay, so now we have to start and we have to read these things now. So we have to start with the species. Okay, so species is the topic that we will start first. So write down species. When the members having similar genetic makeup, when the members having similar genetic makeup, who can interbreed and produce a fertile offspring, and produce a fertile offspring, are known as species, are known as species. So for example, now if you take the case of genetic makeup, what does it mean by genetic makeup? Okay, that is DNA RNA. So genetically now, what is the difference between horse and a donkey? Just tell the physical difference that is visible to your eye, because that is your genetic makeup. You need not get into depth of it and all. What is the basic difference that you can spot between a horse and a donkey?
Height, ma'am.
Horses is larger, whereas donkeys
Somebody said height. Then
They're yours.
it is faster.
ears are very different. Okay, this is on the side for the horse and it is on the top for the donkey. Then
Tail, ma'am.
tail is different. Then
The sound.
Power. Power.
okay, strength of the horse is much higher and is a fast runner when compared to your donkey, whose strength is much lesser. So this is the broader genetic makeup you see. Both belong to the same family. Like for example, your cat and tiger. Both belong to the same family. This also belongs to the same family, but their genetic makeup is completely different. Will a horse interbreed with a donkey?
No, ma'am.
What is a mule?
Hybrid,
Crossbreed between horse and
crossbreed.
donkey.
Crossbreed between your horse and a donkey. If you have been to Kedarnath or those places, you would have seen mules. It is neither a horse, it is neither a donkey, it is mid-sized horse. So you would have seen some horses which are very short. Horse is generally not that short. Horse minimum height is only around 7 feet, and then it goes higher to 8 feet, etc. So horse is very very tall. It is a very majestic animal. But a mule, you cannot now climb on a horse and go to Kedarnath. So you need a smaller sized animal for it. So mule is a crossbreed of your horse and donkey. This interbreeding does not happen in nature. It does not happen. You forcibly make a mule by forcing a horse and a donkey to mate together so that a mule is born, and you can use it for your benefit. Okay, so horse always mates with horse, donkey always mates with a donkey. They do not interbreed. You cannot ask tiger to interbreed with a lion in nature. If they meet each other, what do tiger and lion do? If you bring a tiger in front of a lion, what happens?
They fight
They
for
will
their territory.
fight each other.
Fight. They'll fight, they'll never interbreed. There is no love, there is only fight. No possibility of it. Only when you forcibly interbreed them through laboratory process, horse and donkey, at least if you force it, it will naturally mate with each other. Tiger and lion will not do that. You have to take it to a lab for it to interbreed, and through laboratory process, when you interbreed, you get a liger. Okay. When you do such interbreedings of mule or a liger, what is the disadvantage?
Originality of the species will be lost.
Originality of the species is lost. Then,
Desirable
Side effects will be
characteristics.
lost.
They cannot produce
what
the
desirable characteristic is not there? What desirable characteristic is not there?
uh, they cannot produce offsprings, ma'am.
Offspring. Reproduction is the main characteristic you're looking for. They do not produce offsprings, they are sterile, because you have forcibly made them to interbreed and it was not a natural choice for them, so they are sterile in nature. So if you want more ligers, you have to produce them through such laboratory process. And another thing is they lack hunting skills, or you can even tell survival skills only, because parents do not adopt them. Parents have to impart skill into the next generation. And here, because it is not a natural choice, neither the tiger will take care of it, neither the lion will take care of it, because it is bigger in size than both tiger and lion. So they cannot take care of such a big offspring, so they discard or they abandon it completely, and it lacks survival skills, so you have to completely take care of it throughout its life. So they do not have survival instincts, they do not have survival skills, because they are not with the parents, they're not reared by the parents, or they're not growing up with the parents, and they are sterile. These are the two most important disadvantages associated with the interbred animal, and it cannot carry the generation forward, so there is no point in it. So that is why interbreeding is done, but it is not a great thing in India, and it is not great in research in India. So questions on this and all is very very less. So this is your genetic makeup and this is your interbreeding. They never interbreed with a different genetic makeup animal. Okay, so this is the definition of your species. Understood and clear with the definition of species? Any problem with it?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Next topic under species, types of species. So they give the heading and write down keystone species, indicator species, endemic species, invasive alien species, flagship species. I do not have place. I'll write one more year down. Umbrella species. First heading is now keystone species. What is a keystone?
It holds the arch.
It holds the arch together. Okay, so when you have an arch like this, the keystone is located here. If you remove this, then it becomes only a pillar, because the arch collapses and you are left with two pillars like this. So the essence of the arch only is lost. So this is a keystone. So keystone species, first heading. If you remove this animal from the ecosystem, the entire ecosystem collapses. The entire ecosystem collapses. So ecosystem will not survive only. Okay, so if it disappears, then the entire ecosystem collapses. See, there are some animals in our environment which are very, very important for the survival of this ecosystem. If that animal is removed, then the entire ecosystem collapses. Like, for example, the survival of any forest, which is the most important animal. Any forest you take, without this animal, any forest will not survive. Which is that animal?
Snakes.
Snakes. Okay,
Honeybee.
very good. Bees, because they are the pollinators. If you don't have pollinators, there is no seed. There's no seed, there is no forest. It doesn't grow back. So bees are the natural pollinators. Without bees, now your entire forest collapses. So this is the importance of a keystone species. Okay, so bees are very, very important. Bees are now being affected by your microwaves. That is nothing but your communication of internet and mobile phone, wireless communication. Any wireless communication affects the bees. In your school, in just before 10 years, when you were in school, you would have seen on school buildings there used to be big, big honey, honeybee, uh, 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 honeycomb. Okay, so honeycomb structure, bees would be there, you would close the windows, etc. Nowadays you're seeing that they are not present in urban setup. Bees were one set of organisms which were adaptable to urban setup also. There are few animals which are not at all suitable for your urban setup, like for example your deer. That is why you don't see deer in a urban setup. Whereas if you take a cow, dog, cat, found in the forest also, found in your urban setup also. So few are adaptable to urban setup, but all animals are not adaptable to animal setup. For example, if you take a rat, adaptable in forest also, adaptable in urban area also. Mosquito, again in forest and urban area. Bees also adaptable in urban area. They were present. They could build a comb or a hive on a concrete structure. They can build it, and they found it safe also on a concrete structure, and they used to come and build it on concrete structure. The moment you started using your microwaves combined with deforestation, because if there is no flower, there is no bee. Deforestation and microwaves combinedly, it affected the population of bee. Deforestation is a direct impact on their population, where their population started reducing. Microwaves or wireless communication interferes with the signal of the bees, and there is colony collapse disorder. If you see a bee, it never goes to the same flower again. If you take a very big flower, then the bee knows that it has already taken the scent and it has taken the honey from it. But when you take, for example, a mango tree, you would have seen the flowers of a mango tree. It is very small. Small numerous flowers are there. The same thing is true with respect to your teakwood also, or your jackfruit, etc. So there are numerous small flowers in it. So bees never go to the same flower again, because the pattern in which they fly is 8, like this. When there is interference of your microwaves into this pattern, they do not know, and they start moving in circular fashion like this, and they end up going to the same flower again and again. So this now kills the bee with lack of honey in it. Okay, so there is no proper collection of nectar, and it starts dying. So this is your colony collapse disorder, which is affecting your bees. So because of which they left the urban area, and now they are found in rural area, remote areas, where the microwave signal strength is very, very less, and obviously where there are forests. So that is why you're not seeing them around. But bees are very, very important for proper seed formation. That is why you see in urban areas, easily there are not small saplings growing next to the tree, because there is no pollinator. You need a pollinator. Only when there is a pollinator in the rainy season, monsoon season like this especially, you would see that they would germinate and numerous small saplings would come around a tree. Today, you don't see that condition in urban areas. One, because there is no seed formation. Two, because of concretization. Somehow, your government is obsessed with concretizing everything, and footpath, etc. Everything is concretized, and we don't focus on grass patches, which are equally good and also act as water harvesting mechanism, which allow for percolation of water. If you remove the concretes on the sides of the road, and on the sides if you plant grasses, then you have created a sink for water. And such cities are called as sponge cities. So that is why now you see that pavement like structure is being put. like this. There are hexagonal shape bricks being laid, and there is a gap in the middle here through which your grass grows, etc. This allows for percolation of water. Earlier, there used to be big, big slabs on your footpath, and they used to cover it with slabs. Now, everywhere they have to take out the slabs and they have to put it with this kind of pavement like structure where the pavement allows for percolation of water and water is able to sink. So either you can create a grass patch or you can create a pavement like this. Grass patch, the problem in India is your drier seasons, it is very difficult to grow grass here and mud starts accumulating on the road, which affects the quality of the road, and you have to lay the road again and again. Hence they opt for pavement, which is not a great choice but still better than a slab like structure which you put on the footpath. So this is the importance of your afforestation that you have to do, so that there is one your pollination. And when you have grass patches on the soil, when the seeds fall, they automatically germinate and they do automatic afforestation of your urban area. So this is the problem that you're facing recently. Okay, so this is about your forest and the relationship of bee with it. Bee is one of the most important key species on the earth only. So it is a keystone species. Without it, earth will not survive, forest will not survive. So next, when did we get to know about this keystone species? We didn't know that the few animals were keystone species, and when you take out that animal, the entire forest only dies. So you did not know about it. It was USA who started hunting wolves. There is a park in USA known as your Yellowstone National Park. Yellowstone National Park, anybody can tell the geezer?
Old Faithful, something like that.
Very good. Old Faithful is a geyser inside your Yellowstone National Park. You have a hot spring there and a geyser. Okay, so Yellowstone National Park is a national park in USA where there were good number of wolves there, and there were deer and other animals. So when they started, USA started settlements in the area, small rural areas and settlements of rural areas started in the area. They were threatened by the wolves and they started killing them. And hunting of this, one gave them fur, and second, the threat was gone. Two advantages of killing the wolves. When they killed all the wolves, after few days, the forest automatically started shrinking and gradually it died. Why? What was the reaction that was initiated there? The moment you kill the wolf, deer population
There will be
increases. They end up eating, they rapidly reproduce also because there is no threat, and then they end up eating the entire forest and the forest dies. So the key role of your wolf was in checking the population of the deer. So to do the reforestation or afforestation program, America introduced many plants into the region. So they planted many plants. It did not lead to growth of forest. They brought in few more deer and some small animals, and they introduced animals plus plants. Did not give any result. Somebody gave the idea of introducing a wolf, and when one wolf or a group of a pack of wolves were introduced into the forest, automatically the forest grew. Then they identified that this animal is the keystone species of the forest. And then they said each and every forest has keystone species like this. You should not affect the population of keystone species, and you should uh, have a check on the population of the keystone species. So this is how they discovered it. Okay, so wolves are your keystone species because they check the population of your deer. Similarly, your tiger, lion are the keystone species. So I think you have studied something like this in school, everybody, which is called as a food pyramid.
Yes, ma'am.
At the bottom of the food pyramid, it is always grass, which are your autotrophs, which produce the food. And then there is primary consumer, say for example a rabbit or a grasshopper. This is called as a primary consumer. And a rabbit or a grasshopper, okay, we'll take the case of a grasshopper. Who eats grasshopper? Something bigger than that.
Snake.
Lizards.
Snake.
Lizard, snake, okay. This is a secondary consumer. Who eats the snake?
Eagle.
Mongoose.
Eagle. Eagle is
Vicious
the
monkey.
tertiary consumer. Mongoose also, but we'll take eagle. So eagle is the tertiary consumer. So tertiary consumer, eagle, now somebody eating eagle is, a rare case. So if you really have to eat an eagle, it has to be another big kite, or it has to be a falcon or something like that. Even they will only kill the eagle and they will not end up eating the eagle. Eagle and eagle will fight with each other, they will kill each other and they'll go away. Cannibalism is not there, they will not end up eating the eagle. So whenever you see a food pyramid, there are four levels to it. And the tertiary consumer is generally called as the top consumer or the top predator. Means nobody eats it after it. So example is your lion and tiger also. Lion and tiger sit at the top of the pyramid. So if you take for example the case of your grass eaten by a deer eaten by a tiger, the pyramid ends at three levels only. Nobody is now attacking a tiger and nobody is now eating a tiger. Tiger might be attacked by, say, lion, or tiger might be attacked sometimes even by an elephant. Elephants sometimes are angry and they kick the tiger, and the kick is so hard that they die. So tiger might be attacked by another tiger, tiger might be attacked by a lion, and they might kill the tiger, but they will not eat the tiger. So tiger and tiger fighting is only for territory and not for cannibalism. So you don't see cannibalism as a dominant feature in all the animals. So this is a top predator. The animal that sits at the top of the pyramid is a top predator. Most of the top predators are always keystone species. So if you take the case of a tiger, if you take the case of a lion, or for that matter, even wolves, gray wolves of your America are top predators. You take your brown bear, you take grizzly bear, you take polar bear, they are the top predators in their region. All are keystone species, because top predator, the one that sits at the top here, checks the population of every animal that is there below here. Okay, so it checks the population of the animals that are below here. Eagle also will eat a grasshopper. It is not that eagle will not eat a grasshopper. It is a snack, it will eat it. Eagle will also eat a lizard here. Okay, so eagle will also eat a rabbit here. So they will eat these animals, and they keep a check on the animals that are there in the below trophic levels. So that is why they become the keystone species. They control the population of all the animals that are there below it, and they help in maintaining the balance in the ecosystem. So all top predators can generally be called as a keystone species. They are most of the times keystone species. Okay, so this is how we got to know about keystone species, and we studied about keystone species. Next, if you come to the important keystone species of India, obviously the first one is going to be tiger or lion, and their main job is to keep a check on the population of herbivores and hence helping the entire ecosystem survive. The other one is your elephant. How is an elephant keystone species? What is the role of an elephant in the forest? What will happen if you remove the elephant from the forest? Elephant is a
M-
very important animal.
Ma'am, it is he break the branches and trees and he eats it so that the forest area is within control.
Okay, okay. So one is, elephant, you see it, it is always felling trees. All the elephants are like that, Tusker. Okay, so elephants are always in herds, and you see that the tusker is moving at the front, and behind the herd is following. Tusker never says this herd to follow behind. Wherever the tusker goes, these herd, they follow behind. Why? Because the moment it will fell one tree, it will eat something out of this and it will move forward. This herd will end up eating the rest of the part of the tree, so they get automatic food there. Okay, tusker, you know what is the nature of a tusker? Tusker is a very important DP. You see it, people who are obsessed with power put tusker. What is the nature of a tusker?
Aggressive, ma'am.
Huh?
Aggressive.
Huh. Tusker, whenever there is a tree like this, an obstacle in front of it, elephant walking like this will not take a path around it like this. It has to fell the tree and it will walk straight. Okay, so a tree is like this, it will not go around the tree and continue. It has to fell this completely. Only after it will fell it, it will go. It doesn't like obstacles. So that is the nature of the tusker. So when it will fell the tree, it will eat the fruits that are there. Okay, or it will eat some leaves and branches and then it will move forward. So this is very, very, very important in South India, where it creates path. So a tusker passes, behind it one herd passes, they'll stamp everything and they will go. So there is path creation in the evergreen forest. In this path now tiger is able to hunt. In thick forest, tiger has to run to hunt. And if the deer goes inside the trees, in between the trees, tiger finds it very difficult to hunt. Tiger cannot hunt that way. Path because it is able to run fast. So if it is clever, it will go in between the trees and tiger cannot hunt it. So generally, your deer also takes the path only. And on this path, there is hunting done by your tiger, leopard, wild dogs, etc. So they do hunting on this path. Other animals also use this path only, because wherever elephant goes, there is water and there is green cover. So other animals like your Indian bison, rhinoceros, etc., deer, etc., they also follow the path because they know on the path there is water and there is green cover. So this becomes very, very important. Without path, the entire hunting cycle only gets disrupted, and other animals will not know where to find water and where to find your green cover. So one is path. Next, what is the role of elephant in the forest? Elephant has, too much contribution, disproportionately larger effect on the forest. Elephant is the keystone species of Indian forests. What is the other role of it?
During stamping,
Using the
they
soil
might affect the
erosion.
soil.
They do stamping and
Erodes
Soil,
the soil.
soil, soil erosion.
that will be bad.
Oh,
Stamping is there
they break
because
the
of
stones.
no, because of this stamping there is one very important effect, not soil erosion. Stamping is the important effect that they have on the forest, but it is not soil erosion.
While stamping, the organic matter enters the soil so that
Huh.
nutrients
Okay, so while stamping, the organic matter enters the soil and soil nutrition enrichment is there. Then,
and soil will also become thick. I mean, strong mud. It won't get.
okay, the strata becomes hard and solidified. Okay,
Accumulation of water, ma'am.
very
So
good.
water storage.
That is the most important thing. They generally come and they select a patch like this. Okay, wherever there are no trees, they select a patch and the herd stays here for around 1 week. Every day they go around and at night they come and they settle down here, or during day also they settle down here. If they have eaten the entire night, they come and they settle down here and they, birth here for 1 week or so. So when they are here, you would have seen elephants habits. One is it is continuously with the foot scratching the mud, and then with the trunk taking it and throwing it on its back, because it has to protect itself from the heat. India is hot and humid climate. Elephant also is found in hot and humid climate only. So it completely scratches, continuously scratching the ground with its feet and then taking it and putting mud on its back will help it to cope up with the heat, and it will reduce the body temperature. So that process it continuously does. So when they are resting in the place for 4 to 5 hours, entire herd is now taking mud and putting it on its back, and then they do this process for almost 1 week. So after 1 week, if you see the region which was like this becomes with loose soil, something like this. And come the next rainfall, it gets converted into a lake because the soil is loose. As you said, it washes away, and then there is a depression created here, and in this depression water is stored and you have a lake. Okay, so soil erosion is not a negative impact in your forest area if you have not done forest deforestation, because when elephant does something like this and there is soil erosion, there are trees around it which block the soil, and the soil does not leave the forest area. When human beings do deforestation, you use machinery and you are clearing acres of patches, then soil from the entire region starts flowing away outside from the region. It may be soil erosion or it may be landslide, etc. When animals are doing it, there is soil erosion, but the erosion rate is not so much, and in a single go it is not creating a very deep lake. The lake is created this year, next year also they come to the same place because it is a limited forest area. They come to the same place, they play in the lake now, and then they loosen it even more, and year by year it becomes deeper and it becomes a bigger lake. It takes a decade or 2 decades for it to fully form a lake and make it into a big lake structure. Gradual soil erosion only happens, and that soil erosion does not leave the soil does not leave the forest area. Whatever is eroded is trapped by the trees nearby, and they take that nutrition, and trees also get new soil which is adding nutrition for the trees also. So it is beneficial when it is done by animals in the forest area without human interference. Okay, so these are the two most important things that your elephant does. Along with that, there are other things which other animals also do, but elephant also does. One is spreading the seeds, because longest ranging animal in Indian forest is your elephant. Deer, your Indian bison, which is also called as your guar, they only go short distances and they are not traveling longer distances. Elephant move from one forest to another forest, so their range is very very long. Elephant is eating for 18 hours in a day. So 18 hours it is standing, it is moving, it is eating, it has to eat that much food. So automatically keeps a check on the vegetation also. Okay, so there might be invasive alien species, some other species which would have entered, or ground vegetation is too much, and ground vegetation is taking away all the nutrition, and big trees are not able to get enough nutrition. Then elephant eats all the ground vegetation, continuously grazing. So it clears the ground vegetation, allowing the trees to survive, favoring the trees to survive. So they are clearing the ground vegetation, they are spreading seeds from one forest to another forest, increasing the biodiversity. So when seeds are spread from one region to another region only, biodiversity increases. So this is the importance of your elephant in your forests of India. Any other animal now you know and can think of? In India, I'm talking about. There's one more. In the forests of South India, giant Indian squirrel has a habit of eating only fruits and does not chew the seeds. And it moves from one area to another area just like an elephant, one tree to another tree, and it goes on dropping seeds everywhere, which is very very important. And whenever it is doing a dropping, it goes to the ground, it scratches the ground and puts the dropping inside it and closes it. When it closes it, automatically there is favoring your germination. Okay, so that is one more species that we find in India. Okay, next is your vulture, will do it in the end. Lion-tailed macaw or lion-tailed macaque. What is the importance of your lion-tailed macaque? Have you seen the picture of a lion-tailed macaque? Nobody has a hobby of seeing your Sony BBC Earth or National Geographic channel. Anything, any documentary that comes on India is important. If you see it, most of the questions you can answer, or even you will be able to write it in mains also. This is a lion tailed macaque. dominantly found in your Western Ghats, endemic to Western Ghats also. Largest habitat is in Karnataka. This monkey now survives by eating a fruit called durian fruit. It is like jackfruit but very small. Okay, it is very small. So the jackfruit bulbs you eat are big, big ones. Durian fruit is very small, and inside you have small, small jackfruits. So it sticks to this tree and it survives on this tree. Another one is your ficus tree. Fig, whatever you eat, that local fig. So ficus tree. So these are the two trees on which this animal survives. And wild durian tree is your keystone species for this animal. So lion-tailed macaw, your wild durian fruit is the keystone species for it. Without this tree, this monkey will not survive, and this monkey will die because its house only is wild durian fruit tree or a ficus tree, but it prefers the durian fruit tree. Seeing this lion-tailed macaw, there are many birds which come to this tree. Whenever birds spot this lion-tailed macaw or they see the pattern of movement of lion-tailed macaw, these birds come following them, and squirrel and small small animals whichever eat fruits, they follow this animal and they are surviving with this animal. So lion-tailed macaw is keystone species for birds. Okay, so wild durian fruit tree is one of the major trees of your South India, which is helping the entire Western Ghats ecosystem to survive by giving the fruit. Dependent on this fruit are your giant squirrels, small squirrels, your monkeys, birds, etc. But lion-tailed macaw is an important species which indicates that durian fruit tree only is there in that place, or worst case ficus tree. But always wherever you find a lion-tailed macaw, you find your durian fruit tree, and durian fruit tree is important for your squirrel, birds, etc. So they spot lion-tailed macaw and then they are spotting your durian fruit tree. So durian fruit tree falls under the category of flora as a keystone species, and lion-tailed macaw falls under the character under the fauna for your keystone species. Okay, so this is how two keystone species are interlinked in your entire forest area. Do you all want to write down the slides? Should I display the slides for you all to write it down from whatever has been done today in the class?
I've been running notes, madam. So
All of you have done, or anybody wants me to show any slide, because we are about to end the class. If you all want to see any slide and write down any slide, please tell the number, I'll display it.
Ma'am, can you shortly explain the first two slides, ma'am? Since there was a network issue here, I could just see the pictures and the voice was not so audible.
This one.
Yes, ma'am. The first two.
Okay, prelims questions you will get around 8 to 12. They are generally combined with geography questions. So in the options, if he is asking about a tiger reserve, he will ask the nature of tiger. He'll say tiger is a keystone species, or he will say tiger is an indicator species, or in a sentence he might tell tiger is a both keystone species and indicator species. So you should be able to know the basic characteristics of tiger, how many cubs it will give birth to, etc., which is the largest tiger reserve, and then he will associate it with state, mountain, or the river. So state, mountain, or the river is a geography factor. So tiger reserve questions like this combined with geography. You might get a question completely only on environment, or it might be combined with geography. Mains, you will get it in paper 3 around 70 to 90 marks. 3 to 4 questions are there on 10 marker, and 3 to 4 questions are there on 15 marker. So every year you have 7 to 8 questions based on current affairs only. So if you go through current affairs, it will be enough. Essay, you have to write environment. Without it, it will not be possible. Animals, whenever you're reading animals, now you have to understand in which states it is found, which countries, whether it is endemic to India or not, it falls in what status of IUCN, what is the main diet, whether they are mammals or egg laying. So such basic features of important animals only. Important animals are your keystone species, etc. So such animals you have to know them a bit in detail. And for your notes, you can follow Shankar IAS Academy, PMFIS, any textbook plus your NCRTs. NCRT in geography and biology, the last chapters are there. The main source of environment information is your newspaper. Newspaper, you cannot skip it. Follow newspaper. You will get all these species and information in the newspaper. So you have to pick it up from the newspaper. Okay, so this is the two slides, first two slides. Anybody else wants any other slide to be shown?
Ma'am, the previous slide, please, ma'am.
This one?
The previous one. Okay, ma'am, it's stuck.
Coming now to the next animal, you have to also consider your aquatic animals. Okay, so aquatic animals are also important. So in aquatic animals, can you think of any animal that is very important found in India? First, we'll do India and then we'll go to globally keystone species.
Indian
Dolphins,
gangetic dolphins, I guess, ma'am.
Sorry?
Indian gangetic dolphins.
dolphins.
Dolphins, yeah, okay. Indian gangetic dolphin is a good animal, which is a indicator species. It is not a keystone species. It is an indicator species, so it is a different type of species. Okay, okay. So that is
Coral,
one
ma'am.
important animal. Huh?
Coral.
Corals, very
Coral.
good.
Sea otters.
Okay, corals are very good because coral is the breeding center for all the animals in the ocean, and they have 25% of the ocean biodiversity. If there is no coral, there is no breeding only. So animals will not breed. Always they lay eggs in the coral. Coral also acts as a nursery where small fish, turtle, octopus, everything is found. So coral is the most important keystone species of the ocean. Okay, then somebody else was saying something else.
Algae.
Sea otters.
Otter. What
Algae.
is the role of your otter? What does otter do? Otter is a keystone species, correct? What does otter do? Everybody, do you all know what is a otter? Have you seen otter?
No, ma'am.
One second. So this is a sea otter, and sea otter they hunt fish. Fish is one of their main diets, but they love eating sea urchin, one animal known as sea urchin. Okay, this is only again with respect to the sea. This is not with respect to the river. It is not true with respect to the river. So sea urchin is, a echinoderm which looks like this. It can be eaten raw by humans also. So it is eaten raw. You just have to break it. Inside there is yellow color, liquidy like structure, which is very buttery in taste. If you go to any beaches in South India, you will find the sea urchin. On the banks only you will find it. Whenever there is a low tide and water goes in, if you just see, there will be sea urchins. Or if you go to nearby islands, you will find the sea urchins. So they'll be stuck there. They just cut it open like this and they eat it raw. You can eat it raw. So your sea urchin is one of the favorite foods of your otter. This sea urchin, you can see here yellow color grass. So you're seeing this yellow color grass structure here. This is nothing but your kelp. Kelp is very important in your ocean ecosystem. It stores lot of carbon dioxide. So it is trapping in carbon dioxide. It is very important. The sea urchins go and eat this kelp. And your otter has to check the population of your urchin. Otherwise, they will end up killing your kelp. Kelp is a very important type of grass that grows. So it is grass like this. It is like in a blade structure like this. So you can see it is flat and it is like ribbon. So it is like ribbons. It grows very, very tall. It helps many animals survive here. But your sea urchin is like a pest on it, which ends up eating it and clearing the kelp forest. If kelp forest is cleared, then there will be significant change on the climate change that is happening. It is very important to trap your carbon dioxide, and inside this kelp, you have numerous other animals. It is an ecosystem in itself, like a forest. Okay, so it is like a forest inside your ocean. So coral is a ecosystem inside your ocean. kelp forest only it is called as. So kelp forest also is a ecosystem inside the ocean. So your otter helps in checking the population of these kelps. They eat these kelps and they help in checking that population. They also help in checking the population of the fish, but it is sea urchin which is more dangerous in the sea, which will cause deforestation of kelp. So they help in checking the population of your sea urchin.
Ma'am, if you could please repeat the this part, the kelp,
Which part?
about this otter. I mean, you told about kelp, right?
Yeah, it kelp is a forest there, so it helps in carbon sequestration. It stores your carbon, and it also helps other animals to survive. The sea urchin is a pest which goes and eats this kelp, and it creates deforestation of this kelp forest. So otter eats sea urchin, and it keeps the population of sea urchin in a check, helping the kelp forest to survive. It also eats fish and helps in controlling the population of fish, but fish population need not be controlled today because you are doing large scale fishing only. So fish population is automatically controlled by human interference. Sea urchin population has to be checked, and sea urchin population is checked by this otter. Okay, otter is a mammal, and it gives birth to young ones and it takes care of young ones. Okay, so otter is a mammal. So this is one of your important animals.
And can we call the sea urchins as invasive species?
You cannot exactly call them as invasive species, but they are not favorable species. Like how you have rats, you cannot exactly call rat as an invasive species, but
Okay.
rats are not favorable for our environment. Okay, so it is something like that. Next, in the ocean, you have something called as starfish. Is a very important keystone species in the ocean. Can you tell how starfish is important? What does starfish eat? What is the food of the starfish? Okay, they eat mollusk. Okay, they eat your mollusk. Mollusk are nothing but your shelled organisms. Okay, so you generally collect your clams, the shells from your sea. Okay, so those shells are there. So those shelled animals are the food of your starfish. So starfish generally eat this. When you have more number of starfish in the ocean, you will find more shells on the beach area. If there is no starfish, then that many shells you will not find. So they eat shelled animals. So there was one experiment done in your France. They caught hold of all the starfish and they used to smuggle it because it is used as an ornament. Okay, so it is kept as an ornament. So they started smuggling it, and then they took away all the starfish, and the starfish population died. These shelled animals, now these mollusk. Okay, so another one is there, like ring shape, you would have seen another mollusk. So these mollusks, now what happened, they started rapid multiplication, too much multiplication, rapid multiplication at a very fast rate, and the entire ocean was filled with these mollusks. And when entire ocean is filled with these mollusks, it entered it and ended up with polluting the water. And after that, mollusk also started dying because of competition. So because of competition, they also started dying and they also died. So you started seeing that entire ocean beach ecosystem. This is more or less a beach ecosystem because they live in low level water. Okay, so low waters they are there, and this is also a mollusk only. Anything that is inside a shell is a mollusk. So these mollusks, now they increased in population, ended up polluting water, and also died. Okay, and after this, now when they saw that the beach ecosystem died, if these animals die, then birds are also gone, because birds also eat these animals only. So birds also disappeared, birds also died, fish also disappeared. Okay, so fish also eat them, so fish also disappeared. So entire beach ecosystem only started dying. That was when they reintroduced your starfish. The moment your starfish was reintroduced, it kept a check on the population of their shelled animals, birds reappeared, and everything came back. So this was an experiment done in France. So when they did this experiment, they got to know that your starfish is also a keystone species. India has good amount of starfish also. So starfish is also a keystone species in India. Okay, so any other animal in India you can think of which is a keystone species? Very important. Vulture. What is the role of vulture?
It
What
is a
does
scavenger.
it is scavenger? Okay, so what does a vulture eat?
The carcasses of dead animal.
It eats the carcass of dead animal. Does it hunt and eat, or does it eat something which is already dead?
Mostly dead, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, so it does not hunt. It looks for flesh which is, partially rotting. Okay, so it is partially rotting. So it eats that kind of animal. It is not hunting fresh, and it is not eating fresh blood. Okay, blood should solidify in the dead body, and that dead body only it will eat. Okay, so it will not eat a body whose flesh is still warm. It should be completely cold. Something which has been dead for a long time, it will eat such carcasses. So this is a vulture which eats carcasses. Now, what this whenever it eats a carcass, you will call it as a detrivore. Okay, you will call it as a detrivore. Few vultures are there which eat only bones. They're not interested in flesh only. They swallow one bowl whole and they digest it for a very long period. So that type of vulture also are there. Now this vulture, when it is eating the carcass, why it becomes important for it to eat that carcass? If it doesn't eat also, it will decompose. No harm in it, so it will decompose. What is the importance of vulture? Why we expect vulture to come and eat it, and we want a detrivore to eat it? What is the importance of vulture here? Okay, so if your vulture doesn't eat a carcass, this is what happened. Dogs ended up eating it. Carcass will have many pathogens. These pathogens do not cause any impact on the vulture, but because of these pathogens, these dogs got rabies. Dogs never had rabies. They ate a carcass which had a pathogen rabies. If your rabies virus is eaten by vulture, nothing happens to vulture. Vulture has ability to kill all these pathogens. Because your dogs ate them, they got infected with rabies, then rabies came to humans. Okay, so this is how your domesticated animals and your humans come in contact with pathogens. It starts spreading pathogens. So it is good that if a vulture comes and eats it, because vulture has ability to kill these pathogens. So that is the main role of your vulture. Vulture is the top predator in a detrivore cycle. In a detrivore cycle, vulture is the top predator. So when vulture started dying because of your chemicals, your carcass were left behind. Dogs ate them, they got pathogens, and from dogs, most of the diseases come to your humans. Okay, so this is how it causes spread of your pathogens and new diseases or even existing diseases. So this is one of the important role that your vulture does. Clear, everybody? Finished with it?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, now coming to globally some other important keystone species. One is your emperor penguin. There are different types of penguins, chin strap penguin. Okay, so different types of penguins are there. Commonly, the one you would have seen in pictures only is your emperor penguin. Okay, so emperor penguin is there. Emperor penguin is the largest penguin on earth, and this penguin survives in your Antarctica. Okay, so it is dominantly found in your Antarctica. Penguins are a dominant animal in the southern hemisphere. Okay, so they are not that much dominantly found in the northern hemisphere. They are found in the southern hemisphere. So this is a emperor penguin. Okay, so you have an emperor penguin like this with golden color beak and golden color on the neck also. So this is an emperor penguin. This is the largest penguin. This emperor penguin is very, very important. It is keystone species because its main diet is fish. It controls the population of fish in your Arctic Ocean, Antarctic Ocean, and this emperor penguin is the food for seal. Otherwise, seal will not survive. If seal is not there, then your whales All whales are not carnivore. Only orca whale is carnivore. It is also called as your killer whale. Only this whale is carnivore. Rest of all the other whales are herbivore only. They eat only planktons. Whales do not eat fish and whales do not eat other animals. Only orca. Killer whale only eats it. So without seals, these whales only will go completely extinct. So for the seal to survive, emperor penguin is very, very important. So emperor penguin, if you remove it from the picture, seals leave the area, whales will die. Lack of food. One whale has to eat one seal every day. Otherwise, there is no enough food. Whale, you should imagine, big, big, very big animal it is. So, whale has to survive. It has to eat one seal at least. It needs 2 or 3 seals, but at least one seal, 2 or 3 penguins it will eat. So, it will eat few fish, it will eat seal, penguin, and its diet for the day is done. Okay, so if it does not get seal, then whale will not survive. Seal cannot survive without a penguin. So seal cannot survive completely by eating fish. It cannot eat this much fish. It will hunt one penguin and it will eat and few fish. So seal eats penguin. So without penguin, rest of the food chain, whatever you're seeing, seal and whale, everything will go extinct. So your emperor penguin is the keystone species of your Antarctica. Without that, whatever small life your Antarctica has, you cannot tell that your Antarctica is lifeless, because few animals which are there in the ocean of your Antarctic Ocean or Southern Ocean, they go and they live on the Antarctica, okay, land continent. So Antarctica, you cannot tell completely life is not there. Antarctica has minimum life. Whatever minimum life is there on Antarctica, that will be dead if there is no penguin. So penguin is very, very important. Okay. Next, penguin is the only emperor penguin, not all penguins. Emperor penguin is the only animal which lays egg in the winter. Okay, so winter is very harsh in your Antarctica. So they lay egg in the winter, and your penguins, chicks are ready, grown chicks by the time it is spring. Spring they have abundant food. Okay, spring they have abundant food, but during your winter they don't have food. So that time they utilize it to hatch and give birth to young ones, and young ones are given birth on Antarctica island only. Emperor penguin breeds on Antarctica island. Antarctica island, the winter temperature is somewhere close to -70. It is the coldest place on earth, so it is -70 degrees with heavy winds. So in that wind condition only the survival rate of the chick is also very, very less. Hardly 4 to 5% is the survival rate. That 4 to 5% only will survive, and then they are, grown up with minimum size by the time it is spring, and in spring they are able to hunt by themselves and they are able to survive. So emperor penguin breeds on your Antarctica island during winter. This is your orca whale. Okay, so this is your orca whale. So this is another important animal. There is one more important animal, the beaver. It has to be told in depth about it. So beaver will discuss tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow you have my class. Do you have class on Saturday and Sunday?
No, ma'am.
You all don't have class. Okay, so I'll communicate, and if possible, this Saturday and Sunday also will take class so that we can finish the syllabus early. Okay, so today we'll end the session here, and we'll continue with your. There are 2 more species we have to discuss, and after that, we'll go to other types of species tomorrow, and we'll continue the session tomorrow. Do you all have any questions? Okay, so if you all don't have any questions, you all can log in tomorrow, and if you have any doubts, you can ask tomorrow. Okay, so thank you for the session. Good night.
Thank you, ma'am.